Hi, it's Doug. Have you ever thought about this? We use the word energy in some totally different situations. Like, on the one hand, we talk about energy and our body. Think about when you're running around. People might tell you, you seem hyper, you have lots of energy. Or think about when you're sick, for example. When you're really sick, it's the worst feeling. That feeling where you just don't even feel like moving. You just lie there, barely wanting to do anything. We say, oh, I feel like I have no energy. So that's energy in our body on the one hand, but we also talk about energy when we think about things that aren't even alive, like computers and smartphones and cars. We all say these things need energy in order to work. Could it really be the same thing? After all, we get our energy from what? Food. But cars, they get their energy from gasoline. Or if they're electric cars, then from batteries. Could it really be that the stuff that's in food, whatever this thing is that we call energy, is really the same thing as the stuff in gasoline and batteries? What do you think? We've all heard that we get energy from eating food. To make that a little more real, consider this guy. This is former Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps. He's won more gold medals than anyone in history. Athletes who compete in sporting events know that they need a lot of energy. Well, what do you think Michael here eats for breakfast? He eats 3 fried egg sandwiches with cheese, lettuce, tomato, fried onions, and mayonnaise. That's a pretty big meal. But that's not it. He also eats French toast and pancakes and grits. Oh, plus an omelet, all for breakfast. That's a ton of food. But all of that food has energy stored inside, which Michael Phelps's body uses in order to move his body and swim as fast as he does. Still, is this energy that's stored in our food the same energy stored in gasoline, the energy used to power cars? I mean, people can't run on gasoline. But think about what happens when a car runs out of gasoline. Sometimes people have to get out of the car and push it to make it move. That would be a car running on people. And since people run on food, technically then, this is a car powered by the energy stored in food. Still, that seems a stretch. Could a car be powered directly by food? It is possible. A car can't digest food the way our stomach does. But believe it or not, this truck has a special engine that runs on French fries. The drivers collect the oil that the French fries cooked in and pour it into the gas tank. The truck's exhaust even smells like French fries. Now, here's a bus that runs on beans, soybeans specifically. They grind up the beans until a liquid oil comes out, and that gets turned into fuel. Someone has even created a race car that runs on chocolate. So, just like people use the stored energy in food to move, cars can use the energy in food to move too. And it's not just cars either. For example, some toy rockets are actually powered by sugar. You've probably heard that sugar is one of the foods that has a lot of energy stored in it. Now, keep in mind, that doesn't mean it's healthy for you. But check this out. This is a video of someone using sugar as energy for a rocket. First, he melts the sugar in a pot until it's golden brown. Then, he pours the melted sugar into the rocket, just like this. When he lights the fuse, the rocket blasts off into the sky. Wow, that gives you a real sense of just how much energy is stored in sugar. All of this is just to show you energy isn't just some cute expression that we use, it's a real thing. Energy may not be something you can see or hold. It's not an object, but it is real. Inside a battery, inside of food, inside of gasoline, there is something stored up, which, when it gets released, makes things start moving. That thing or ability to make something start moving, that's what energy is. Batteries, food, and gasoline are just a few of the things that contain energy stored inside of them. But there are even other things that can store energy. We've talked about real cars, but consider something like this, a wind-up toy car. Where does a wind-up toy car get its energy from? Wind-up toys are a classic toy of childhood. I'm sure you've played with one before. You know you have to wind it up to make it move, but have you ever thought about what's going on inside a wind-up toy? Well, have a look at this one. As you open up this wind-up toy, you immediately see there's no battery inside of there. So where does it get its energy from? How does it move? This thing right here. This piece of metal here that's all coiled up is a type of spring. When you twist the knob, you're winding the spring tighter and tighter. You see that? A spring is something that can store energy, just like a battery or just like gasoline. The coiled spring inside of a wind-up toy car might not be something you've seen before. The more classic-looking spring, like this one, is one you might be more used to seeing. But it's the same kind of spring, like if you've ever used a pogo stick. As you press down on the spring, it stores energy, then releases it again, causing you to bounce back up. Where else can you find energy being stored and released? That's something we'll keep coming back to throughout this unit. You're going to get to explore and play around with energy. You'll even get to use what you learn about energy to design fun and useful things. Starting today, let's consider one other way that energy can be stored. In these rubber bands. If energy is the ability to make something start moving, then rubber bands are definitely something that can store energy. One of my favorite things to do, and with this you have to be careful, is to use a slingshot. It's basically a huge rubber band that you pull back and then try to launch something. Like in this case, launching apples at targets. You can see when you pull way back on the rubber band, the apple can fly all the way across the field. Now, I hope it goes without saying, but never use a slingshot indoors. Now, you can even use rubber bands to make rubber band powered racing cars, where the more you wind them up, the farther and faster they go. There are so many creative ways of using rubber bands to make something move, like even this toy airplane. Now, why is it that the more you stretch a rubber band, the faster you seem to make an object go? Why do you think that is? Find a partner. If you're working alone,